Greetings from the cockpit. This is your captain speaking. Our AV system isn't working today, so we can't show you the $2 million safety video that an ad agency did for us. But since very little of what that video tells you will actually save your lives, I'm going to do it instead. The safest seats on this plane are the ones facing backward, like the ones the flight crew are seated in. No, that's not a coincidence. The next safest seats are over the wings, closest to the emergency exit. If you're not in one of those right now, that's a bummer. But here's what you can do to help ensure your survival. Look where the nearest exit is. If the cabin was full of smoke or upside down, or full of smoke and upside down, how would you get to the exit? Take a moment to visualize yourself doing just that. Now, look at your seatbelt. I know you all know how to use it, but that's because nothing is making you lose your shit right now. In the event of something like an engine fire, we need to get you all off the plane in about 90 seconds. This means you need to leave your fucking bags in the overhead bins and get off the plane in a quick and orderly way. Those bags will bring the evacuation to a virtual halt. My first officer and I will also be trying to get off this plane, and the last thing we want is to be cockpit blocked by your roll-on. Now you're probably well aware that there's a life jacket under your seat. Forget about it. They're less likely to save your life than those little airline pillows. To put it another way, if we replace those life vests with a box of chocolates, it wouldn't alter your survival odds. Let's take a second to talk about those oxygen masks. Here's the thing. If we lose cabin pressure at a fairly low altitude, no big deal. You can breathe just fine. If we lose cabin pressure at cruising altitude, you can't. If that happens, here's what I'm required to do. I'm going to push the nose of the plane into an emergency descent. That's going to feel like a roller coaster drop, and it's going to scare the crap out of you, but it's not dangerous. I've practiced. Also, by law, I need to notify air traffic control as well as the airline. And I need to do all of that before I can get on the microphone and tell you what the hell is going on. So don't be surprised if you don't hear from me for a bit. I'm just doing my job, and you're going to be fine. For those of you who didn't manage to get your masks on in time, you'll probably pass out and then wake up in a minute or two when I get the plane to a lower altitude. You want to know what the biggest danger is? That you won't get your frequent flyer points for this flight. Just kidding. Now, the biggest danger is actually that your luggage or those duty-free bottles you purchased and put in the overhead compartment will fall out when you open it and hit someone on the head. There are actually several thousand reported injuries from this every year in the US alone. Now, you're probably wondering, how can this bucket of bolts stay in the sky if we can't even get the AV system or the latch on your tray table to work properly? To be honest, we sometimes wonder that as well. Just a little reminder that we'll probably keep the seatbelt sign on for nearly the entire flight because our flight crew doesn't like to be bothered in the galley, and they definitely don't like trying to squeeze by you in the aisles. Please sit back and relax while we take forever to serve you a drink and barely edible meal, and then leave the tray on your table, making it nearly impossible for you to squeeze out of the chair and get to the toilet. Look forward to flying with you again.